In this video, we're going to show you how to use our threaded inserts. And these threaded inserts will come in a bag like this. And you can use JB Weld is probably your strongest epoxy. You could also use a clear epoxy. It's a little not as strong, but it's more than what we need. But this one is pretty good. You can get them in smaller sizes. It's JB Weld cold weld formula. Strength is 50-20 psi, 5020. And then you want to make sure this sits for about 24 hours or longer. So this is basically what you'll get. You want a pair of gloves. This way you don't get any epoxy on your hands. These are what our inserts look like. So you can see here, typically these would thread through the deck, but these holes are slightly a little bigger, so that way you can fit it through and epoxy it. So the way we're gonna do it is open this package up, and you can see we have a hardener, and then you have the steel epoxy. So now what you will need is you'll need something like a mixer or stir. We have 2 sticks here. They are coffee stirrers. And you'll want to get some sort of paper. We have paper here. And then you'll want to puncture the side of it or the top of it. So the heat right here is a little like puncture thing. If you guys haven't used any of these yet, you just puncture it like that, and you can see you have access to it. And then we're gonna go ahead and use this hardener, and then it's gonna be the same thing. There you go. So the way we do this is we'll go ahead and use a piece of paper, and you want to apply just a little bit. It does get messy, that's why you do want some sort of gloves. So this one is the hardener, and then this one here is going to be the steel. You want, I'm pretty sure, about the same amount. It's basically 1 and 1, equal parts. So we got to put about the same amount for this steel material. It's about right. And then go ahead and mix those in. And you have about 4 to 6 hours to set it. So this one's definitely a little longer. There's 5-minute epoxy. So we're gonna go ahead and stir this. So the next thing you wanna do is you wanna make sure these holes are cleaned out. So if there are any sorts of wood in there, you wanna blow it out. You could also probably get some sort of wet wipe or something and clean it out and then dry it out. These ones are pretty much already sealed. Once it's mixed, it'll basically look like this. It's pretty much gray. So we'll go ahead and position ourselves, and we'll work on this one here. So we'll go ahead and put it in, and you want to put a good amount of paste in here, or epoxy. And then once you have a good amount of paste on there, let me grab another glove. And then you'll want to go ahead and apply more epoxy to the threads on here. Then once you got a good amount, you go ahead and insert it in. Make sure you have a rag so you can wipe some epoxy out if you need to. And then you can push it in. And you should be good. So one thing you want to make sure is you want to make sure you clean out the inside. So you probably don't want it to go into these threads because this is actually J-weld aluminum. So you will want to actually clean it out. And then we'll go ahead and thread it in so that way anything that's in the way will come out. So I threaded it to make sure that it pulls out some of that epoxy. So that way we know that the hole is clear. So the next thing you want to do is I would put a bead of epoxy around the cap. And what this will do, this will also seal it in from the top. So if it was to break, it would have to break on the inside, this epoxy, and then it would also have to break on this outside seal. So I'm trying to get it in between the top of the threaded insert. And then we'll just put a cap over it, just like that. And then make sure that you don't get anything on the inside. And then if you want, you could also clean it up. And you could go around it. But that's pretty much how you put the threaded insert in. If you go ahead and thread it in and then have the epoxy in there, you should be good to go. I would wait and repeat the process for all the bolts. And then within 24 to, I'd say like 30 hours, it should be pretty good. If you wait 48, it's even better. The stronger you wait for the epoxy, the harder it's actually going to be. But yeah, that's how you apply the threaded inserts into the deck. If the deck doesn't have a small enough hole where you can actually drill it in. And to drill it in, you also need a special tool. So if you don't want to do that, you can always make the hole bigger, just big enough so you can fit this actual threaded insert in. Hope that helps.